Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Nikke reaction. Today we have the Clarion Call. I wanted to listen to Headless Angel, but as many had said, it's Queen Bee, and unfortunately, they're covered by Sony, and Sony is terrible when it comes to copyright, so I couldn't even risk trying that because it's a 50-50 of either just getting rid of the video entirely and not letting you monetize it, or actually striking your channel, which is entirely dependent on really stupid stuff like whether or not they had their plate of dino nuggies that morning. Like, I don't want to deal with that, so I'm not going to. I've had to fight them enough in the past, so I'm just going to listen to Clarion Call and be happy with that reality. We got another Cosmograph, so I'm not like mad about it, but it is unfortunate that I can't really risk doing that without Sony chasing me down. But luckily I had a comment by Radioactive Thing which told me I should listen to this one, so of course, like I've said, that's what we're gonna do today. So let's go! Ooh. Ooh, ooh. Oh, it's an anniversary song. Ooh. Jeez. That's a lot to come out the gate. I love the phrasing of this one. Musically, it's very nice to have that pulse underneath it. Beautiful voice, of course. Gorgeous tone. Not what I expected out of Cosmograph, though, so this is kind of nice to hear him tackle different things once in a while. Whew. Great explosive energy into that, just backing right off. Ooh, interesting way to say elegantly. Like I said, the phrasing of the music is really cool, but the literal phrasing is also very unique. There it is. She said the title. She said it. Oh, okay. That threw me off a little bit, but actually, I kind of like that. It's like a fake out. This is such a unique track. I'm gonna have to dig into this one a little. Wow, like that was just explosive. I don't know if I can think of any other word to call it off the bat, but I'm definitely gonna be digging into that one. Let's figure it out. So first things first, I thought I recognized this voice. I've heard Pernelle before, the lyricist and vocalist on this song. I've heard her work on other stuff from Nikke, working with Cosmograph. I've heard the main overall theme of Nikke, as well as a couple of others in there that she's lent her voice to. So it's like, yeah, of course I recognize that. I just didn't put it together. It's been a while. I was like, why does this sound weirdly familiar? Like, I feel like I've heard this exact timbre, this exact tone, where and why. So I had to like look, and I was like, oh, duh. So like, I recognized the name immediately. But of course, time does its thing to the mind, and I just kind of forgot. It's been a while. But still a beautiful voice. So, you know, no arguments there. But the main thing I want to talk about is the music theory that kind of goes into how this song does what it did. I'm not positive on any of this. I want to preface that. I'm not a professional music theorist. I can barely play the keyboard. I only started learning recently. But I think that this is something that a lot of high fantasy music does. This type of sound that we tend to correlate with this type of world, this high fantasy element, and especially the higher royalty and that huge vanguard energy that tends to follow it. So I'm pretty sure this song sticks around the E minor key most of the time, and for anyone wondering, that would be that, just the chord of E minor. So the keys that fit into that, there's a lot of major chords that fit into that. So like B is in there, D is in there, G is in there, a lot of ones that can be like transitioned to other big, grandiose, high energy, very regal sounding chord progressions in that key, which is probably why it was used. But there's this modifier that happens where I'm pretty sure as it goes into the like pre-chorus, the bridge, where there's that big like da 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 da, like that sort of buildup, I think it goes minor, minor, flat major, which really punches you in the gut with that change. It feels out of place because E flat major wouldn't be in the key of E minor. It just doesn't make sense. So I think that they decided to modify one of the E minor chords and made it a major. I'm not entirely sure how they did that, but the E flat major chord is this one. So that's a completely different sound, and like you just heard, it has that sort of feeling that like feels like the chord that would be in a royal like throne room. It just, it must be a thing. Like they must write a bunch of songs for medieval royal settings in that key, or at least an adjacent key. The thing is, this isn't really a relative key or a parallel key to E minor, which again, I'm pretty sure is most of the song, because the E flat major key doesn't have any of these really in there. I think it shares one chord. So it's like, what are you doing? I'm not sure where this modifier is happening, how he decided to just change key up, which can be done, but it's like seriously for this one chord. And then it goes right back down to where it was, and we go through the chorus with our expected key. So that's what's really tripping me up here, is that for one, you changed the key for one, Cosmo? Good sir, like I'm really trying to figure that out. If Cosmo happens to see this video, tell me down below, dude. I want to know what you did to like make that happen. If you did just literally change the key, used it as a shift, and then moved back, let me know. I want to know how you did that. If there's like a seventh or something that you threw in there, I don't know. I'm not that good, like I said earlier. So I want to learn, and figuring this type of stuff out is kind of how I do that. I'm very like, throw it at the wall, then punch the wall with it stuck to the wall until the wall breaks. And that's my answer. I'm very aggressive when it comes to figuring this type of stuff out. I spent a good 15 minutes just researching the relationship between these keys. Does it make sense to modify the one to the other? Not really. So why does it work? And I was like, of course, they're both E. So like that makes sense. But at the same time, one is a completely different key. So it doesn't make sense to use a parallel or a relative or any other sort of relationship there. So is it just because it's an E and you're going from E minor to a flat major? Okay, sure. I want to learn though. So if Cosmo sees this, please let me know. Let everyone know. I'll pin it. But other than that, the song just does exactly what it sets out to do. It feels high fantasy. It feels high energetic. Love to hear this giant, boisterous, regal voice on top of everything else. Pernelle's voice is just so it's got enough character to like stand out on its own, but also plenty of that familiarity. For some reason, she nails this genre vocally. She just has that operatic presence to her voice. Maybe she is classically trained, I wouldn't know, but maybe she just studied it a bunch and then nailed it. So, I mean, some musicians can just, boom, here's an entirely new genre I've never sang before, and it sounds fantastic. But everything around this sounds great. The sound design feels very big. All of the instruments just kind of gel really well together. There was never a time where I'm like, that's a little distracting or that's too much. It felt like this nice blend of exactly what I was expecting for the genre that they're writing in. But really, like a lot of video game music, it just kind of did what it set out to do, to be this genre, to get this emotional response out of somebody, the listener, and just making it sound exactly like that sound, nailing that sound with a giant underline, italicized that sound, is kind of the point of all of these musicians that make music for games like this, that have these huge varied worlds, these different cultures within this universe that they have to like rearrange and kind of see what fits, you know, like what sticks to what character. And yet again, Cosmograph, banger after banger, doing it consistently, just like everyone else in this game. So far, I have not had one song where I'm like, this doesn't feel like this fits. And this one nails this aesthetic, and I love to see it. But at the risk of yapping more, that's all I'm going to say here. So thank you all so very much for watching. Sorry I couldn't get to the Queen Bee one. As we all know, Daddy Sony says otherwise, but I can only do so much as a tiny YouTuber. So here we are. But if you have any other songs you want me to listen to from Nikke, of course, leave them down in the comments below, and I will do my best to get around to them. And otherwise, if you just like this video and you want to follow me and support me for more, you know how to do all that. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!